pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before our secretary, our city clerk, called the roll, I would like to welcome back to the lineup here of your Port Huron City Council. We held a meeting at 5 today, and the council selected Bob Mosrak. Can we all give him a round of applause if you could? So we're back in motion. Would you please call the roll, please?
Councilmember Archibald. Councilmember Haremza.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Payton.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Mayor Ashford.
Present. Members, you have before you the regular meeting of November the 25th, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Lamb. Second?
Support.
Second by Councilmember Pemberton. All those in favor? Any discussion first? None? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Roll? Or we don't do the roll, okay.
As submitted, so that was the...
As submitted. I keep
You
forgetting
look at
as
it.
submitted.
You
yeah.
look at it.
It's almost like we're giving away money up here. You know, you don't do that with the treasurer. Okay, so next we have presentation.
James Soto, Huron Avenue Roundtable member, will present on the proposed lane configuration for the Huron Avenue project.
Good evening. My name is Jim Soto, member of the Huron Avenue Work Group. And in my day job, I'm professor of philosophy and English at St. Clair County Community College, where my recent research has been on moral decision-making in urban planning. I'm also a member of the State of Michigan Pedestrian and Bike Safety Action Team, and I'm a former member of the City of Port Huron's Traffic Study Committee. Again, I'm here on behalf of the Huron Avenue Work Group, and hopefully I get this correct. Yay. As you can see, the Huron Avenue Work Group was formed in early March of 2024. It was put together by the city manager, James Freed. It is, and I believe recommended by former Mayor Rep. It is made up of primarily downtown business owners. There are some residents of downtown, and there are some other interested stakeholders, people who work on issues of walkability, and myself, who cares deeply about bike infrastructure. The work group met 3 times, the dates are up there, and also MDOT gave a public hearing meeting, here in the Municipal Office Center in September. The Huron Avenue Work Group was asked to evaluate and make a recommendation on the 5 options up there. The first being no change. We put it back the way it is right now. However, if we did that, we would actually lose a significant amount of parking spaces. I won't go into all of the details. Alternative 1 is a road diet, and a road diet means we would shrink from 4 travel lanes to 2 travel lanes with a center turn lane. That is known in the business as a 4-3 road diet. From 4 travel lanes down to 2 travel lanes with a center turn lane. With back-in angle parking and paint-only bike lanes on both sides. Second alternative was a road diet with back-in angle parking and bike lanes on the other side of the street. Alternative 3 was a road diet with parallel parking on both sides of the street and paint-only bike lanes on both sides of the street. And alternative 4 is a road diet, parallel parking, a 4-3 configuration with separated bike lanes, physically separated bike lanes on the east side of Huron Avenue. No real surprise why I'm up here. We would like to recommend to you alternative 4. and that is a road diet with parallel parking and protected bike lanes on the east side of Huron Avenue. Now, I would like to take a second and discuss with you just briefly the reasoning that the work group had, the reasoning, what stood out to put that recommendation to you. And believe it or not, I did not say this first. It's pretty amazing. One of the major themes that the work group pushed was that people on bikes need to feel safe. They need to feel safe. And what allows for that feeling of safety is physical separation. And so that is what pushed, I think, over the line. The other is it preserves a significant number of parking spaces over some of the other alternatives. Finally, there was some public survey done by MDOT, and 273 of the over 600 responses wanted to see separated bike lanes or bike lanes of some sort. We also did evaluate the back-end angle parking, and we thought that that would lead to issues of non-compliance, people just diving into a space. And I can tell you, I follow the city of Oak Park on Facebook, and they're constantly posting Facebook messages begging people, please don't just pull in, please back in. They're still having problems with non-compliance. And we think, and importantly, one of our big concerns with back-end angle parking is if we did it that way, we would lose sidewalk space. And one of the things that we know from studies in urban planning and urban design is that if you shrink the sidewalk, you get less foot traffic. It's less walkable, fewer people. And I think store owners and business owners downtown want that. Now, if you'll indulge, the other thing is the configuration's been that way for about 60 years, maybe even a little bit more. And the work group thought maybe it's time for some sort of change. Now, if you will just humor me just a little bit, I would like to mention a couple of national and international reasons why we should do it this way. There's research out there. There's research out there that when you add separated bike lanes and you improve the walkability of things, you get lower speeds. And one of the main complaints that we keep hearing is that cars just simply drive too fast on Huron Avenue. By doing the road diet, by including bike lanes, we're going to slow speeds down. It also fills a very critical gap in the Bay to Bridge Trail. It allows some South End residents better access to downtown amenities. And if I can mention a historical point, MDOT is considering doing this from basically Pine Grove Park all the way down to where Military and Electric split. That is stunning. It's kind of unheard of. I think MDOT, there's people there that might verify this, but that would be the longest cycle track that MDOT has ever built on a state road, that sort of thing. And pardon me, I got the order just a little bit mixed up. And it's important that we consider doing a road diet and the separated bike lanes because we know that road diets and separated bike lanes are a proven safety measure. We know that it reduces crashes for all road users, not just people on bikes, not just people walking. And that's important to reduce the long-term costs on our emergency services. If we have fewer crashes, we have fewer emergency calls. And I think that's very important when we consider that Port Huron's population, sadly, has been declining for 60 years. That means that all of those emergency services are now proportionally more expensive for the fewer residents that live here. And I think that's an important cost saving. Finally, I'll just add this, that there is some evidence out there as put forward by the Growing Michigan Together Council and some research studies out there, that broadly quality of life investments like building a walkable neighborhood, putting in bike lanes, actually bring about more investment and important, gives us an opportunity for more population growth. It's the kind of amenities that actually attract people and retain young people. And I do want to see us begin to grow again instead of continuing to kind of lose population. Finally, I'll end on some future considerations. If you vote yes, how are people going to get there? How are people going to get to that bike lane? And I would recommend to you to start thinking about connecting all of these bike lanes and perhaps go for a city-wide bike network that allow people to get on their bike, get to the grocery store, get to work, get to downtown from wherever they go. We sort of have this patchwork right now, but we need to sort of integrate them and bring them together. No doubt, there's going to be political pushback. People are going to be upset about it, some people are, but given all of the alternatives, I think this is the best path forward. We also know from research that the pushback and the sort of yelling and screaming, it's all natural, it's going to happen, but for only about a year after implementation. Then everybody sort of gets used to it, and we just sort of move on. And then finally, if you vote no, I have to ask you, what's your plan? What's your plan to keep us people on bikes safe? Thank you for your time. I hope you vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Okay. Now is the time for public comment. If anyone in the audience wishes to address the City Council on any agenda item or matter under the city's jurisdiction, now is the time to do so. You are allotted 1 4-minute opportunity to make your comments. Please say your name and address before you give your comments. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Leslie Bender-Jutzi, and we live on the south side at 2614 South Boulevard. Congratulations, Councilmember Mojorak. I was one of the candidates who sought the appointment for Councilmember Mojorak's seat, so I ask that you keep that in mind. I'd like to think that my comments are completely objective. There might be a little bit of sour grapes, so I just warn you that way. But I really am up here to encourage you to consider the south side as you go through all of your deliberations. By appointing the most able and capable Councilmember Mojorak, you are in fact disenfranchising the people on the south side. They have gone several times now without a council member who lives in that area. And that's not to say that people from other areas cannot represent ably the people on the south side, but I do ask that you keep those people in mind, keep the needs of the south side in mind as well. There are a lot of needs over there, and we need your attention and your support, and we ask you for your gracious consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Randall Redlows. I'm at 4125 Dove Road. I'd like to congratulate Mayor Ashford on winning, becoming the new mayor. And yeah, I just wanted to say Trump won, yay. And RFK is gonna be in there. They're already planning on putting down an order for you all to get the fluoride out of the water and start prosecuting people in the deep state committing these crimes, putting rat poison in our water. So like, if you all want to, like, you know, maybe avoid prosecutions, jump on the winning team, you know, get the fluoride out of the water now. Don't wait for the order, get it out. We already know it's poison. We already followed the science, been following the science. People have been up here telling y'all about this. Y'all can't say that y'all ain't seen it somewhere on the internet, or you guys have had your head in the sand and then you shouldn't even be up here in the first place. But y'all should have seen on the internet stuff at least that would get you curious enough to look at it and follow the science, but you don't. You just say, oh, the American Dental Association. Do you think the Medical Dental Association saying that is going to give you liability and the corporation liability? No. And there's corporate holders in this, and there's liability for them, and they're going to get sued for poisoning people for decades. And the people sitting on the bench right now, unless you want to start showing that you're not just going to be a minion of this deep state that wants to destroy people, give them poison shots with the COVID, make viruses in labs and spread it around and just tell lies. We'll see. And Trump won. And I don't know if you want to like play along with how they're going to plan on trying to overthrow his election. You should probably watch Alex Jones about that and what they're going to do, so you guys are aware of what they plan on doing, because they don't want Trump in, because they know there's going to be prosecutions and they want to end the war in Ukraine. We all want to end the war in Ukraine. We don't want to fight in Ukraine and protect their border. They shouldn't be having nuclear weapons on the border with Russia. I don't want to go with war with Russia for Ukraine, and we need to close down our borders and stop letting military age men from China just come through, and Iran and all that are going to run these terrorist ops to keep Joe Biden in and seize control of power. But you all should show what team you're on and like start getting the floor out of the water and be like, yeah, okay, it's that time. And I'd like to say, the pastor in here that said the prayer, like when we get to heaven, we all will have a title. If you get there and you're not poisoning people and working with the devil and being with his spirit, you're going to get a title. It's going to be called royalty, nobility, eternity, eternal life, a good one. So think about that. Have a nice day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Ken Harris, live at 1521 Wells Street, Portland, Michigan. I'd like to bring up a few items tonight. First, I just wanted to ask you, can you smell it? Can you see it? No, you can't. We're talking about Resolution 24-130 tonight. We're talking about $600,000 in taxpayers' money. And basically, when we're looking at this, I'm just wondering, when I tried to do the math at home and stuff, how we can pay $600,000 for property we already own. It's a good question. It's going to be answered. The bad part is even in your presentation here to us, you're just saying you're going to disperse the money as needed as necessary. You can't spend $600,000 and not have a plan. Think about it. Another thing, I noticed that I was going through my agenda tonight, and I don't even think it was supposed to be on in our program that I got through the email and stuff. But in there was a document for the city, the Department of Transportation, Lansing, Michigan, and it was posted. It was dated. The letter was dated after the November election. The thing that drove my attention, though, was on the back when it lists the city council members and the mayor. It didn't have any updates. I think that's a disgrace to our system of justice and election, that this thing that come in after the election, and they still list the good old boys. And I guess the last thing I got, the sidewalks are all clear and stuff, but everybody knows how much I walk the city of Port Huron. But I think one thing we've got to look to, when I come home from Thanksgiving dinner that day, and we had the snowball in and stuff, and I would probably say that where I walked in the majority of the neighborhoods, I'll bet you 90% of the people never touched a snow shovel for the first snow. Yet the city of Port Huron has found time to warn people about parking their cars in the street, and they're going to give them a free pass if they, for the first 10 days. Let's just think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Harris.
Good evening. My name is Bob Epley. I live on Lakeview Avenue here in Port Huron. I'm here to speak in favor of the bicycle path. It's my second choice, and I have an interest in bicycling. I've been owned a bicycle store for over 40 years here in town. I would have preferred a bicycle lane going north and south on east and west side of a single lane. However, two on the east side is next best option for that. Very hopeful that you all vote in favor of this evening. We need to increase, like Jim said, that with bicycle paths all around the city, it increases usage of bicycles, which is environmentally sound. It increases the property values because people, as the communities, as the people grow, bike paths become more and more important because of the environment. We also see that, bike trails, across the state, people fight against them constantly, but they see usage go up, property values go up, more street traffic, more pedestrian traffic. Store owners love them. So please be unanimous in your vote to vote yes on this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Applin. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council tonight?
Tyler Moldovan, 1412 Pleasant Place. I'm here because of the Huron Avenue work group. I was a part of the work group, and I want to encourage you all to vote yes on our design recommendation. Protected bike path would be incredible, not only for recreation, connecting our bridge to Bay Trail, but also for commuters. I am a commuter who lives north of Pine Grove, and I work on Lapeer. It would be great to be able to ride my bike through downtown, grab a coffee, and make my way up Lapeer to go to work safely, because right now it is treacherous to do so. That being said, there is plenty of arguments. Jim did a great job, and I'm sure other people will talk on this as well, that bike infrastructure, road dieting, traffic calming, all of these things provide positive impacts to our downtown. They create a safer, more inviting space. Individual property owners cannot do anything about the space outside of their building. But what you guys have the opportunity to do, and MDOT has presented this to us, is to create a more cohesive, safe, public realm in our downtown, which we so desperately need. As someone who lived downtown at one point, I love sitting on the sidewalk, but I would have to do that on quieter days because it was so treacherous with all that traffic speeding through town. And this would hopefully reduce a lot of those treacherous conditions along Huron Avenue and providing safe, protected bike infrastructure for people throughout our city. And I'm super stoked that it has the possibility to really connect closer to the south end and as far to the north end, as well as Pine Grove Park, which is nearby me. And I really encourage you all to vote yes. And I'm sure you've all seen my emails about it, so I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Hi, my name is Luke, and I live over in Fort Gratiot. I would love to bike up here. Sometimes I do, but it's really dangerous and super sketchy to try and bike downtown at all. So most of the time, even though I live so close, I have to get a ride to here, even though I could easily, it's easily within biking distance, but I just can't because I don't want to get killed. Because that's really what it is. If this isn't implemented, someone could get killed. That's the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any? Jones?
Larry Jones, 208 Huron Avenue. I think, the bike paths that we do and the trails that we do are wonderful because people out exercising and enjoying their bikes and the safety is wonderful. The only thing is I'm wondering, who pays for this? This is going to be a lot of extra snow removal, a lot of leaves going to be blowing in there and cleanup and a trip hazard. It seemed like there's a way to get a bike trail down through there without, the only place, what other city has this? Has it been successful? Has it been in the cold, snowy weather? The only other place I've ever seen this is in Seattle, Washington, and me and Trace was there, and it's like people go down, of course, Seattle's they got a lot more hills, but people go so fast with their bikes down through that trail, through that. And then you got the extra curb, so you've got another trip hazard. All winter, you're gonna have snow, not only one curb to have to trip over, but now you're gonna have this other curb that you're gonna have snow on both sides, and you're gonna have to get people over it. So, it looks really good in the summertime, and And if this is gonna bring more expense to have to, for all the people in downtown that pay streetscape to have to remove all that snow and have all the salting and all the, you know, the trip hazard and people, it's too dangerous to come downstairs because you got, or downtown because you've got all the water standing in there, you've got all the slush and snow, and it just seems like that there's a way of doing it and not put that burden on our downtown businesses. But, you know, I'm all for the bike trail, that's wonderful, and redoing that down through there. It's just, it seemed like we can think it through. I know like McMorran Boulevard was beautiful on paper, and it was beautiful when they did it, but then they realized what kind of a burden it put on the taxpayers because we couldn't get volunteers. You know, I know me and my wife have been in with those volunteers cleaning, and it's like tear out a lot of it, put in stamped concrete, you know, put in things that we don't have to pull all the weeds. And so there's things that we do that sometimes tend to burden us later. And I know like the flower pots are really beautiful down through there, but all those curbs, I've seen so many people, you know, trip over them and, you know, fall into the flowers, and then you got snow and slush around them in the wintertime, because that's Michigan. But I just really feel that there's a little better way than doing that. And besides, you know, it's like the people that are riding their bikes on the sidewalks, they're gonna ride their bikes on the sidewalks anyway, because they don't care. And so anyway, that's just my input.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everybody.
Okay.
Hello, Andrew Kircher, 1815 Military Street. I'm also here to speak in favor of the protected bike lanes. I know the more we can build that kind of infrastructure, what you build for is what you're going to get. So more people, I think, would use that protection as they feel safe. I think Jim did an excellent job in his presentation. I don't know anyone who is more competent and capable to speak on that matter, and I don't want to belabor any of those points, but I just want to speak from personal experience. Over the last couple of years, I've ridden about 2,000 miles on my bicycle. You may have seen me. I have an older electric bike that I kind of modified up myself. I love riding it in town, and I don't ride it for fitness. Lance Armstrong, I ain't. I'm riding it because it's an easy way to get places. It's cheap for me. It costs like 11 cents to charge, and I always have the best parking spot wherever I go. So when we think about bicycle infrastructure, a lot of it tends to be towards that recreation, and I want people to think of like, how can we utilize this to get to businesses? I live right downtown. I would love to be able to ride from just south of downtown all up and down Military, because I have actually been hit by a car on a bicycle. I was in the city of Port Huron. This was a couple of years ago. I was very, very lucky that I was not more seriously injured, wound up with a pretty sore shoulder for quite a while, and you know, it was just luck. So I really think, I really implore you to look towards that safety, towards the people who do that. And the more that we can encourage that, the more people will ride on that. And I just don't want anyone to wind up. So like I said, the stars aligned, and I was lucky that day that I was not more severely hurt. So just ask yourself, do I really want to live in a city where Andrew Kircher could easily be killed by an automobile? Because I know I wouldn't want to. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Hi, my name is Connie Neese. I'm a park commissioner in Fort Gratiot, and I'm here in favor of the bike track. I want there to be safe bicycle infrastructure. I would like eventually for Fort Gratiot's trails to be able to meet up with Port Huron's. I would love to be able to easily, safely ride my bike from Fort Gratiot to downtown, because sometimes, you know, I think about the traffic to drive down, and it's like, if I could take my bike, I would, but I don't necessarily want to drive all the way downtown and then try to find parking. Like Andrew said, if you ride your bike, you always have a great parking spot.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Neese.
I'm gonna have to bring you a bag.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mary Williams, and I'm from the south side of Port Huron. There's only one place I love better than Port Huron, and that's where I grew up at, and that's the old, what is known as Smith Creek now, but it's now referred to as Wells or Goodles. That's the only place I love more than this place, and I have traveled quite quite a bit in my lifetime. But I have I want to say something wonderful to you. I seen a wonderful thing happen in Port Huron today. The South Side received some lights, and it looks like it's going to get even better at the splash pad at Knoxville. And whoever initiated that and got that ball rolling, we would like to thank you, because it looks beautiful just with the little bit that's done down there. So the best is yet to come. So I thank you I thank whoever has done that on the south side of town. And I know that our parks, I'm looking at the parks and they're just looking beautiful. And again, Nancy does a wonderful job at what she does. So she makes it look, she finds the money, I believe, and makes it look great. But somebody had to say, hey, what about the south side? And I thank them for that. But what I'm really up here speaking about is that special meeting. It looked like a backdoor deal to me. And it doesn't set right with me. The city council has a past practice that is starting to really show through right now. There were many people who have had who had less than that 25% that was denied access to sitting on city council because they didn't have that 25%. To name a few, Alfonso Amos, Marissa Williams, and Anthony Lindsay. Those are 3 people, and they all have something in common. We voted because we wanted change. We voted because many of us knew about the 25%. But what happened in that charade upstairs is that the people, the ones of us who showed up, we didn't even get to hear the council talk about the characters of anybody else besides one person. It was a vote that was pushed through real fast, and you knew what you were doing. You do not have to vote, or you do not have to, if there's a motion on the floor, you do not have to second it just because it needs to be second. No, we wanted to hear good discussion and to hear about the candidates that were presented to us. This is not fair to us. The voters asked for change. It's not that we did not want the person that was elected, but why we asked for Farquhar, why we said if it's going to go to anybody, and I stood right here and said that, if it's going to go to anybody, it should go to the next vote getter. But the reason why I said that is because the young man brought change to this board. He was somebody younger, and he had different views of how the city could work, and that's what we're looking for. The people are looking for change in this city, not the same old, same old. And it concerns me that a council would vote anybody into the council when the mayor says this is not a good fit for us. It seems like the council would have said, well, if our mayor, if our leader is saying it's not a good fit for the board, that it shouldn't have happened. The city wants transparency. The city wants people sitting on that board that provide, and any place that provides character also when they sit on that board. One of my concerns is that a person, we're asking for the charter to be changed. Okay, the charter needs to be changed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mary Ashford, Council, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Angela Kelly, live over on 11th Street. I concur with Mary, but I'm here about the bike lanes and the road diet for downtown Port Huron. This has been a long time coming. It's my bicycle journey has been going on. I helped make the trails in Sanborn Nature Park. I just want y'all to know that. That's my childhood. I've always been a big bike rider in the city. I couldn't walk a few years ago, and my journey back on my bike was getting an e-bike. Bicycling has changed. They're faster, obviously, and they're a mode of transportation. We do have to remember that we do have low-income people that do use the bus transportation, but also this is very walkable, bikeable needing community, just because of lack of resources. Once again, the bike lanes, it's hard. With the sidewalk, you know, someone mentioned that we'll just ride on the sidewalk. We have no choice. It's that or die if we try to go downtown and ride along, you know, with a car door banging out or something like that too. So it is more than just recreational. Sometimes it's physical therapy. We're getting into older Americans, and it's a great transportation. It does bring tourism, and please find a way to connect us to that trailhead for the Wadhams to Avoca. There's just, it's so, you can't get to it safely. And those trailheads, and that brings people here. And once again, we focus on tourism in Port Huron. Well, let's do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that'd like to come before the city council?
My name is Calvin. I live on 1027 Chestnut Street, Port Huron, Michigan. And I wanted to speak today in favor of the proposed bike lanes on Huron Avenue. I am a bike commuter. I often bike to frequent downtown businesses. Just the other day, I was going down 7th Street because military, it's just not safe. And I almost got hit by a car. So bike lanes being implemented, I feel would be very good. It would make it a lot safer, and it would make me feel a lot safer. I'm at a point in my life where I don't have a car, I don't have access to a car, and I don't feel like I should have to own a car to be able to participate and get around this city safely.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jacob Orr, 720 Sanborn. Congratulations, Councilman.
Thank you.
I was asked to step up and speak in support of the Huron Avenue reconstruction project. My family loves to bike the area. We are often seen coming down through Pine Grove Park from the, let's say the Sherman Woods area up at the north end, and we'll hug the water line and we'll come downtown through Pine Grove Park, and we'll kind of sneak in behind Casey's, and then if we want to go anywhere further south, we'll continue to use those back roads. Excuse me, I should have drank more water. It's a safer method, but it's still not the safest option. A lot of times people aren't really looking around, they're not watching for bikers back there, but you know, a lot of bikers feel it's the best bet. So I think a project like this would really help increase safety, not only for the bikers, but also those drivers, you know. Somebody asked for an example of where construction projects like this are successful. I think we have a very close city called Ferndale, where they are always adopting something new, of course, but I was recently there, and you are literally forced to slow down and like take in a whole new road, because you're asked to shift traffic. They have these impediments in the middle, they have bike lanes, they have signage, and it really does slow the traffic, and you can see a lot of bikers getting around a lot more safely. So I would definitely be in favor of alternative 4. I think it's a safe option for that physical separation. And although the majority of those survey responses didn't vote for that bike lane at a minimum, I think at least a third of the people voting shows that there's a significant interest. And as a person who sends out surveys for my job regularly, I know that most surveys are not returned. So that third is probably represented in a lot greater numbers. I think a road diet was also successful in Marysville recently, if you want to look south for another example along their Huron Avenue. And they also have a bike lane. It looks a little bit different. I think this would probably be better. The Bridge to Bay Trail, I think, is probably an initiative older than I am, and I would love to see it completed one day in my lifetime and in my family's lifetime. So I think that would be great. And to improve Southside access would be awesome as well. The presenter mentioned that this could be the longest cycle track on record. I think that should be an appeal right there. Make headlines, you know, do the right thing for safety, but also set precedents. So beyond that, I think if you are going to vote yes in support, you should start considering where to place bike racks. The city of Petoskey is another location that does biking very well, and they have some strategically located and aesthetically pleasing bike racks that are not in the way. So you may want to look there for some guidance. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Orr. Is there anyone else who'd like to come before the council at this time? Your name and your address?
Trey Smith, 1640 Cleveland Avenue. Good evening, Mayor, City Council.
Good evening.
Mr. Manager, how are you, sir? Mr. Pemberton, can you hear me?
Gotcha, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna talk to you. I've asked repeatedly for almost 2 years, and I don't feel like I'm being heard. My heart's broken, and I just don't think I can take it anymore. I don't understand why. You all keep your drinks near the mics. It is so annoying when you're listening to it on YouTube. You keep hearing this ice going up and down, up and down. Please, it's important to me. This is my bike club. I just want us to be quality all the way around as a city. You don't hear that in any other meeting setting. It's just a simple move. Nobody's grabbed their drinks yet. They're still near the mics. Just move them away, and then everything is a little bit better, a little bit clearer. And the reason why I shared that concern, because I understand that people come up here to complain. That's what we're good. We're good at complaining and talking about issues. And congratulations on getting back with council. And but I know that we had some really great individuals. They're here that were candidates. And I'm going to look forward, Mr. Pemberton, to see how the council utilizes all of these skills that made themselves available. Because that's why I hate elections, because people are blinded by the fact or thinking that only their government official, their elected official can actually make a difference in their community. Like there are other ways of serving their city. We can't start nonprofits, we can't partner with groups, we can't take personal projects with the support of our council. There are so many ways in which we can make a difference and bring life to our community. One closed door does not mean that all of their skills are null and void. We can empower them, because I believe that the goal of government is to inspire. And now you have an opportunity, Mr. Pemberton, to inspire. And I'm speaking to you because as a pastor, you understand that we can't get anything done without inspiring people to see a bigger vision, to get past the little grievances. We'll always have issues and challenges, but the difference is we have a way of showing people that government should not be the choice of the most popular person, but it should be the call of an individual who believes they're meant to do something more, something selfless, something that can actually make a difference. And also in that same spirit, Mr. Pemberton, I hope that you are doing everything possible to keep our current city manager and our administration happy and satisfied, so that we don't have to think that they're not satisfied in their current position and have to figure out how do they take care of their families. We should make sure that everybody feels safe, regardless if we like the job that people are doing or not, because the truth is, Mr. Pemberton, most of us who serve publicly are all dirty heroes. Martin Luther King had all kinds of issues in his background, but yet he still did a lot of things that were good, as did our other leaders, JFK and others. But the fact is, we have to learn to celebrate the differences. And even though they got a little dirt on them, Mr. Pemberton, we have to do everything possible to make sure that their gifts shine. And so nobody else will understand this conversation better than you, because of the calling you accepted. And I believe, in my 19 seconds remaining, that you will find a way, Mr. Pemberton, to make sure that I don't hear any more ice on the YouTube. And number two, that you inspire all these individuals, Mr. Pemberton, to do a better job, even though they may not be up there in front of us. Thank you, Mr. Pemberton.
Thank you.
Holden Gothier, 11th Ave. I can't hammer the nail any further than everybody else has tonight, but yes to alternative 4. Just kind of make sure you heard another affirmation here in a sea of yeses. I hear a lot of positives and a lot of good contributions from people here. Some very smart, well-read people I've heard spoke tonight in favor of it. So I hope you really took notes and really thought about and continue to think about what people clearly want. Yeah, the ice, I hear the ice all the time. I just have to, I'm gonna put my yes on that too. Please stop swirling the ice around. Maybe just do it between people. And lastly, you know, Miss Mary, who had spoke, had a great point. The charter should be looked at. I mean, 25% of the vote, that's what it took. And I will again express my concern that when you omit the people that did not vote in the local election, in the council race, when you omit those people, Brian Farquhar received the 25% of the vote. He did. And I don't know why we gave so much weight to people who did not vote in the city election. And so suddenly he's not granted that 25%. But yeah, I do think that should be looked at. In regards to the woman, I don't remember her name, but I guess she had applied for council. She well said that there's not enough demographically representative people of the south side up here. And if you look at the history of the council, you'll see most often y'all live in north of the bridge, pretty close to it, on this side of the city and north. So I think she had a great point that it's kind of a missed opportunity to get somebody a little bit south of this part of town up there. But thank you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Foley. Is there anyone else out in the audience wishing to address the council this evening? Hearing and seeing, oh.
My name is Alan Skinner, 3419 Stone Street, on that side of town like this gentleman just said. And haven't been around very much, but I think I'm going to have to start coming back and trying to pay a little closer attention. Had a birthday and a number. I'm a year older, and like we all get, and, time's running out. But I want to congratulate everybody in their earned position. Anita, especially. Thank you for your contribution, and I think you're going to lead a good council. The things that I have a concern about on the streetscape are safety issues. I'm not a biker. I don't understand how all that works. I mean, but I think it is a risk for people coming out of stores, crossing the bike path to get to their parked cars. I think the configuration is such that they've got to cross the bike traffic to get to their parked cars. The angle parking, I'm glad to see, is not being utilized because I think backing into an angle parking situation is very difficult, very hard for a lot of people that can't twist and turn and see where they're going. I'm concerned about the only two lanes. Huron Avenue does carry a lot of traffic. Now we're just going to double that traffic. I mean, at the busy times. You know, not all times are busy, but when they are busy, we're going to back up this traffic extremely far. One lane, it's going to stop traffic in one lane for people trying to park. Parallel parking now, I guess, is the proposal. I didn't understand what the center lane was, a left turn lane. Maybe that's just at the intersection where make a turn at the corner. Concerned also about the truck traffic that goes through downtown. I know we have a major state highway and the trucks are entitled to go through downtown. But again, this is an extra burden on the highway that's already now cut in half. Transit-wise. I'm wondering if we couldn't reroute truck traffic through 10th Street when they come into town, go around the downtown, and then reconnect at Pine Grove. Some businesses do rely on trucks for the deliveries and things like that. Something would have to be worked out. But semis going through downtown on the lower restricted roads, I don't think it's a good example. I guess, you know, I'm in favor of slowing the traffic down if that's what it is. I haven't really ever experienced fast traffic downtown. It's too heavy, too much traffic. But if we all do want to slow it down, then we ought to have a hand-in-hand project to try to promote the downtown and do more work to promote the downtown. So if we're going to use the slow traffic, am I close on time?
Yeah, you, 38 minutes. You're okay, you're doing all right.
Well, I guess that's the only other point, is the truck traffic is a hazard. And if we're going to coordinate all of this, maybe, you know, more downtown development, coordinating with the streetscape and the rerouting the traffic, and make it all fit, make it all come together in some way, something done. So my proposal or purpose would be is I think we're not far enough along yet. I think we need to go back to square one, or maybe square three, and relook at some of this. Thank you very much.
Right on the money.
Thank you.
Time's up. Okay, thank you, Mr. Skinner. Is there anyone else who'd like to come before the city council?
Hi, my name is Jeff Cushman. I live at 317 Valentine. A lot of people made great points already on the bike lanes. I just wanted to mention a few things I hadn't heard. I live off of Gratiot with the unprotected bike lane, and I guess it's an example of where that doesn't work, because people park in it, you can't ride your bike through it. I don't think as a biker I would feel safe in that bike lane being unprotected. And yeah, it's just not really a great option. So the protected would make a lot more sense. The other thing is I used to volunteer when I lived closer to Detroit with the Garden City Downtown Development Authority. And we had wanted to do a road diet for Ford Road, and MDOT wouldn't consider it at the time because it was a state highway. And you know, it's great now that that's an option that they're putting out there for cities to do. I think it was mentioned that it's been like 60 years as this configuration, so it's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a change, to bring things in closer and have benefits to our businesses downtown, like Ferndale did, or some other cities that had a wider arrangement, and then when they cut it down, it totally changed their downtown. So that's all I had.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wanting to address Board here in City Council? Okay, seeing and hearing none, close. Now, City Clerk. Consider agenda, please. Okay, consent agenda?
Yep.
Okay. So the items on the consent.
We need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion, first of all.
So moved.
Second.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and second by Councilmember Pemberton. Yeah, okay. Okay, now.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Under communications and petitions, we have one. Receive and file the November the 5th, 2024 election results for mayor and 3 council members as canvassed by the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners. And under resolutions, we have 7. Resolution number 1, authorizing, Resolution 5, approving the scheduling of a public hearing for January the 13th, 2025, to hear comments on the establishment of a plant rehabilitation district for 3500 24th Street. Resolution number 6, approving the scheduling of a public hearing for January the 13th, 2025, to hear comments on the application for an industrial facilities exemption certificate for a rehabilitation facility at 3500 24th Street. Resolution number 7, approving the appointment of Councilmember Barbara Payton to serve as the city's representative on the Blue Water Community Action Agency Board. Resolution number 8, appointing Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Archibald as the council representative to serve on the McMorran Place Commission for a term to expire November the 9th, 2028. Resolution number 9, recognizing Port Huron Civic Center Theater and Company as a nonprofit organization in the city of Port Huron. Resolution number 10, adopting the 2025 federal poverty income guidelines and policy for granting or denying poverty exemptions. And resolution number 11, confirming and approving single lot special assessment for the cost of an emergency board up for various addresses. And that concludes our consent agenda. We will move back to, from the city manager.
Accepting the bid from Oakwood Building Company Incorporated in the amount of $258,300 for the demolition of the old Central Fire Station located at 515 River Street.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Mosrak, and moved and second by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Roll.
Madam Mayor and Council, as we know, we never wanted to build a new fire station. We were forced to do it because the building is structurally falling apart. I actually had someone who didn't believe me, so I said, go over there and tour it, and if you disagree, well, let me know. And they toured it, and they agree. We had 2 different engineering firms look at it. It is not salvageable. It's not worthy of investment. Once this is authorized, it will be filed up hopefully in the next council meeting in January with a land use study for that property on what the highest and best use is to the taxpayers of Port Huron. We have created an RFP for that. We've gotten proposals back in. They're currently being evaluated by staff before recommendation.
Thank you, City Manager. Is there any more discussion on that? Any questions or anything? I concur. We went over there for the tour, and it looked like the building was lopsided. I went, my goodness, so that was long coming. If we had waited any longer, it would have fell down by itself. We didn't have to knock it down. So, thank you. Roll, please.
Councilmember Hurenza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Number 2 there.
Accepting the bid from Wolverine Freightliner East Side Incorporated in the amount of $137,374 for the purchase of a 2026 model year chassis for use by the Streets Division.
Did you have anything on that one?
Yes.
Is there a motion first?
Oh, is there a motion?
Motion.
Support.
So, okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Lamb and supported by Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is replacing a 28-year-old vehicle that's used to pull the tankers, part of our sludge program.
Okay.
It was a budgeted item. It came in about $3,000 over our budget, but that's within reason.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Any more discussion? No questions? Okay. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Hurenza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolutions?
Authorizing 21 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, would you take the roll, please?
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Hurenza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolution 2.
Approving the purchase agreement with the Port Huron Housing Commission for the purchase of the Elger G. Harvey Reinvestment Center located at 3005-3021 24th Street.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilmember Lamb, supported by Councilmember Mosrak, and at this time, we have a presentation by our manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before I get started, I just want to note how beautiful the Christmas trees and decorations in here look. And also the Christmas lights at Knox Field were actually Mayor Ashford's recommendation. Asked if our Parks and Rec team could help put some lights up at Knox Field, so it was Mayor Ashford who allowed that to happen. So give credit where credit's due.
Well, I can't take the credits.
You can take the credit. All right. I want to start off tonight before we talk about the Alger Harvey Reinvestment Center. I want to talk about another center we have, which is Palmer Park Recreation Center on the northern portion of the city. This is located just north of Garfield, on the corner of Garfield and Gratiot. Most everyone knows where it's at. It's a nice sledding hill there. And the reason why I want to talk about Palmer Park, because the similarities of the Alger Harvey Center are pretty remarkable. These are all the current activities going on in the winter months at the Palmer Park. And my family and I partake in a lot of these. So it's got things for seniors, things for families, things for after schools, things for kids. It's got just a ton of programming in that community center. Thousands and thousands of people use that community center. This is the large room on the second floor. This is where they have a lot of the activities at, a lot of the classes, a lot of the dance classes. My daughter, Lucy, loves biking from our house or walking from our house in the evening to go to a dance class or essentially learn how to dance, and this is tap and whatnot. She absolutely loves it. One of our family memories is the Palmer Park and all the activities my kids get to go there and experience just in our neighborhood. They've got additional meeting rooms as well. A lot of senior meal programs are done here through the Council on Aging, so senior citizens can come and get a warm meal. It's got a really nice kitchen. So if you want to rent the facility for maybe a graduation party or a retirement party, there's a kitchen facility that you can use there as well. A lot of families rent that facility out for special events or corporate parties. It's just a really nice community asset. This is the Alger Harvey Reinvestment Center. The City of Port Huron does not own it, nor have we ever owned it. It is owned by the Port Huron Housing Commission, which is an independent corporation. The Port Huron Housing Commission used HUD funds to construct the facility in 1995. Those were HUD's capital improvement funds. So if we purchase this facility, the money that we are giving Port Huron Housing Commission will be earmarked for future capital improvement programs. So that could be taking that money and investment in the housing projects we already have going on here, so investing maybe new facades or new kitchens for those housing units, or maybe is using that for seed money to construct additional workforce housing. But HUD ultimately will approve the sale and approve the use of the funds and where it goes. A little bit about that facility. It was built in 1995. Now, the City of Port Huron did own the small parcel of land that part of it is built on, and they did sell that to the Port Huron Housing Commission for $1 to construct the community center, but it was never deed restricted. The land acreage is about 1.1 acres. The building size is about 6,800 square feet with a big multi-purpose room of 2,400 square feet, and it comes with 26 parking spaces. Very similar to Palmer Park. It's a great meeting room, a big room that right now a lot of people are using for high school graduations. It's got smaller rooms where we actually did, I think we're still trying to work with some senior meal programs down there. Also some additional flex space that can be used for programming. And with some of our ARP money, has a beautiful kitchen. So about a year or 2 years ago, we started talking, when we started doing the community engagement process for the Neighborhood Improvement Authority. A lot of the community feedback was, we don't really have a true community center. And if we do have a center, the Alger Harvey Center, it's difficult to access, meaning it's not staffed, people aren't there, so you have to register it, go get a key, and it's not really available for community access. And there was no programming there for the kids in that neighborhood, so it was walkable for them as well. I think about all the dance classes and the stuff my daughter gets to walk down to. Not every kid in the city has that opportunity right now, and that's a real injustice. So we met with the Neighborhood Improvement Authority going over this, and it becomes clear that a community center is really a key focal point for the South Side and for South Park. The Harvey Reinvestment Center, in my eyes, has always been viewed as a community center. I don't think the public will accept selling it to a third party for something other than a community center, because that's what it was constructed for. And so if we don't purchase this facility and secure it as a community center, they are authorized to sell to the next highest bidder, which means we would lose that asset. We already had a very similar community center, athletic center in South Park that the city really, and the community really doesn't have access to anymore, and that's kind of a tough spot there as well. These are all the possible programming activities that we can begin to engage in that facility. Now, we can't do it all in 1 year, and every neighborhood will like different types of programs. But what I would like to do is I'd like to secure that facility using ARP money, about $400,000 of ARP money. I have reached out to several nonprofits, and I am confident that before the closing date, after HUD approval before the closing date, before the end of January, we will secure the other $200,000 in grant funding to purchase that facility. I've talked with the philanthropy community, and at year beginning, when they have a new budget year, January 1, there is significant interest into bridging that gap. So we will not close until we're able to close that $200,000 gap. Met with Nancy Windsor and the Parks and Recreation staff. We are confident that we can begin programming that in the spring with similar programs that Palmer has, so that those kids in that neighborhood have a walkable community center to make it to as well. Now, what we also talk about is risk, okay? What if we buy this center and it just doesn't get the use and it doesn't work out? I am confident that we can sell that facility for what we got into it. So if in 2 to 3 years this isn't working out, we can sell it. I don't think that's the case, but to mitigate risk, I think it's important that we just look at that. If this doesn't work out, if the program doesn't work out, what do we do with it? So this is what I'm asking for tonight, the approval to secure this facility. It's a really nice facility, okay? It's really nice, it's built well, it doesn't have any major maintenance issues. The operations has got all energy efficiency. They actually put a bunch of HUD money into it a couple of years ago to do all energy efficiency, so it has all the energy efficiency appliances and lights. The operation's pretty cheap. The annual operating maintenance cost will be pretty low. So I think the operational risk financially and the capital risk is, really nothing at all, especially because we had some ARP money to make this happen. But I think we do owe it to that part of the community to try to make this work, to secure that asset for the neighborhood. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Thank you. Anybody have any
Mayor,
discussion?
I'd just like to say, nice presentation, James, thanks for that. We hear a lot of talk about us doing more at the south end of town. I can't think of a better way to promote the south end and get some of these programs. A lot of years ago, but I spent all through high school working at Palmer Park in the rec center there and absolutely loved it, some of the best memories. And I could see that presentation was very poignant of how we could transfer that over to here. So I think that's something we should keep in mind.
Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, I think actually, just growing up there and that, we just look forward to, having something in that. When they took away the James R. Leonard Center, the kids at that end, not just South Park, but the South End, they didn't have anywhere to go to. And so this will kind of reestablish a place that the kids can kind of, just identify with as a place to go. So they didn't have any place to go. Now this will do that, and we can build upon, what's there. And I also would like to thank the group of people that went out there and they kind of had redid the kitchen. That's how their commitment is to that building, the Harvey Center. I think that was ARPA fund. Was that ARPA fund?
About $75,000.
Yeah, $75,000 ARPA fund, where they kind of wanted the kitchen to be more industrial, similar to what they did at Palmer Park. So, it's a lot of people down there that just depend on that. And you're right. You probably would have had a revolution if you had to try to tear it down or give it to someone else. So that's something, we spend a lot of time with tearing down things and not replacing them, and that's like a legacy down there. I mean, Mr. Harvey did put so much into the community, and just keep tearing and ripping stuff apart instead of seeing what you can do and rehabilitating these places. And it's just like recycling. They don't have to be the same as yesterday, but you could build onto it for tomorrow and give that part of our city some more hope that we do care as a council, and we're about the business of investing in our youth and our seniors. So I think that's a good call here tonight.
Couple things I want to do in the near term, once we close on this facility, hopefully before the end of January, and it's pending HUD approval. HUD has to approve this deal.
Yeah.
One of the things as well is just basic maintenance things, like it needs some carpets cleaned, the floors haven't looked like they've ever been waxed. So there's a little TLC in that facility as well. I think there's also future partnerships with the YMCA that could be had there. There was a child care facility. That child care facility closed, but the need for that child care facility didn't go away. And so one of the goals is to onboard more child care facility within the city. So I think this building allows a lot of additional opportunities that otherwise we wouldn't have to begin developing some of those partnerships. The YMCA has onboarded additional child care at the Eddy Center in St. Clair. That model could be duplicated here, but again, if we don't control the asset, we really can't have those conversations. And so I think there's just a lot of potential here. I think there's not a lot of risk. If we get into this thing in 3 or 4 years, we can unload it and probably get our money back out of it and some.
Okay, good. It's certainly an opportunity to get better. So you call the roll?
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolution 3.
Supporting the recommendation from the Roundtable Group to reconfigure I-94 BL from Vanderburg Place to Lincoln Avenue in 2027 as part of the Michigan Department of Transportation's Huron Avenue reconstruction project and support a pilot run prior to the beginning of construction.
Is there a motion? So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and second by Councilmember Pemberton. All those in, any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council.
Almost let it go, okay.
Madam Mayor and Council, I'd just like to thank a few people who volunteered to serve on this committee. Jim Soto, Professor Soto, did an excellent job tonight. Thank you for doing that, Professor Soto. Tyler Madovin, Sherry Faust with the Bridge to Bay Trails, Josh Chapman with the YMCA, Casey Harris, a downtown business owner, Amy Mays from Disability Network of Eastern Michigan, Hale Walker, downtown business owner, Jackie Hanton from the Community Foundation, Pete Lacey from St. Clair Community College, Kate Voss, a downtown business owner, Bruce Frasniak, a downtown resident, and Dave McElroy with Blue Water Transportation. A very special thanks goes to Tom Anderson, who's here with us tonight from MDOT. All of the renderings and simulations and data and all of the really heavy lifting we did not do. That was Tom and his team at MDOT. So he really did all the heavy lifting, providing the information to the work group. They did review 4. It was the overwhelming consensus. We only had 1 dissenting vote to go with option 4 for all the reasons that Professor Soto had stated. This is not something that we're just inventing. There's a lot of data behind this. So there was traffic counts and traffic data points that were reviewed. So very similar, they did a road diet in St. Clair, which is working very nicely. We have very similar traffic counts all throughout the areas of the state where road diets have done, and this type of similar plan has been put into action. We have very similar traffic data. So the idea that it's going to be backed up and it's not going to work, the data just doesn't support that. What's also really important is that beginning next year, we will work with MDOT to begin doing a pilot program and implement pavement markings that does this exact same plan. So we will have a soft rollout of this where we will implement the bike lane in current form via pavement markings. That will give us about a year and a half before we actually break in concrete. So if for some reason a year and a half from now the pilot program fails miserably, we could always hit the brakes and pause. I don't envision that's going to happen. In fact, what I think is going to happen is when the pilot program is deployed, it's going to convince everyone that this in fact will work and actually provides a very nice travel pathway for all types of modes of transportation. Moving beyond that, we did take them out further because we wanted to touch the neighborhoods so that folks in those neighborhoods could hop on those bike lanes and get all the way to downtown. Looking in the years outward, I think we're going to have to look at Oak and Griswold. There's no reason why we couldn't continue this road diet all the way to the borders of the city with Marysville and tap that trail network that's down there right now. I bike every single morning, well, that's not quite accurate. I used to bike every single morning, but you get right down Military Street towards the car dealership by 24th Street, and there is no sidewalk. It just goes to a cow path. And so there's a real walkability and pedestrian issue to get to Connor Street area that we need to address in the outward years. So I think this is a good start, but I think onward, we're going to have to look at the redesign of those roads as well, including Oak and Griswold, to incorporate the bike lanes as well. Because if you go down Oak right now, the traffic just flies through there. It's like a speedway. And so it's not safe for kids in that neighborhood, and we want to make it safer. So anyways, I appreciate Professor Soto and the work group for all that they've done, and I think they have a very sound recommendation based on the data provided by MDOT in the simulations. We also did conduct a site visit with SEMCOG and their team of engineers to review this as well, what we were planning. They also thought it was a good idea.
It's a good check and balance.
Yep. Furthermore, we are not paying for this. So MDOT's flipping the bill for all of this. And so I think that's key, is this is an MDOT project. They're paying for the construction. It's kind of odd. Someone comes into your city and says, hey, tell me what you want and I'll pay for it. But the billions of dollars that Tom has at his disposal, he's going to make happen for us. Operation and maintenance, they're really nominal cost. The bike lane is wide enough to fit a snowplow truck down, a pickup truck, so it's just one pass with a pickup truck. So operationally, I don't see some major costs incurred in this.
Okay, so maintenance fee is not incumbent upon
Correct.
the businesses.
In fact, we're hoping with the streetscape design that by dealing with irrigation and the design of the streetscape, we're actually able to reduce the streetscape cost to the businesses when this is constructed.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you got most of the public audience responses there. Yeah, okay. And we're not paying for it. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't think it's a perfect plan. However, I agree with Mr. Appley. I'd love to see bike lanes on both sides. I know there's some concerns about the bridge and traffic, and that's going to happen. There's no way around it. We know it's going to back up. It's going to back up when people are trying to park. But if I remember correctly, James, you can tell me that if to do bike paths on both sides, we didn't have enough space and we'd have to eliminate parking completely?
No, it could be done, it's just not as safe. So the barricaded lanes really provide that level of safety in the downtown corridor. Now, moving past...
Right, we couldn't barricade them if we did them on both sides. We didn't have the space to do that, correct?
But moving past Glenwood and south of the Military Street Bridge, it will go back to bike lanes on each side. So when it reaches into the neighborhoods, it's bike lanes on each side.
So it just merges in
Correct.
and then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, having said that, understanding the concerns and the things that we're going to face, I still believe the road diet is the best way to go, and I'm ever so hopeful that it will slow the traffic or really make the trucks go another direction, and hopefully they'll go to another road and they'll stay out of downtown. I think the road diet and eliminating all of that traffic and all of that speed downtown will be amazing for our downtown and our businesses. My only big concern is for the businesses when this happens, and I know it's going to happen regardless if we did the road diet or not. So either way, I'm greatly concerned about businesses that already struggle to get people downtown. What are they going to do? I know I've spoken with the city manager, and we'll bring it up again, that I'm hopeful that we can find possibly grant opportunities or other things, as well as a lot of pre-media and advertising of how to get to where you need to get downtown, reminding people that the businesses are open, possibly finding funds somewhere, somehow, to help those businesses that are going to struggle when this is shut down. And we'll continue to sit up here and remind, through this whole project, remind the residents, the downtown is open, and please go downtown, help them out. But I do think, even though it's not the perfect plan in my eyes, I think it is the best plan that we have the ability to do.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Not a question, but more just a comment as well. Like I said, you're probably not going to get something that everybody agrees with, but I really appreciate everybody involved, because everyone always asks how they get more involved, and the biggest asset is their time. So the credentials that came with that group, and that they did agree one, and it's not just feeling, we have the data behind it to back it. It's the way I think things should work. And as we're building this, that's kept going through my mind. How are we going to expand it? And as we're talking about, the Harvey building, et cetera, just keeping that in mind. I mean, if we eventually had it, we're connected everything, going around those activity centers, connecting Marysville, like you said, I mean, it's going to be a huge asset. So I just want to thank everybody that took the time. Everybody's busy, and we're passionate about it to get to where we're at. Took a lot of work.
May I comment?
Yes.
As someone that
Council.
runs a downtown business, I will say that I agree with you that it is a concern for all of us that are we going to lose more business? And obviously we are, but downtown is dying a slow death anyway. So as somebody that sees it day in and day out, I think that this road design, this diet will bring more foot traffic. It will bring more people into the downtown because the cars, 95, 98% of them speeding through the downtown are not frequenting our businesses anyway. So why not make it more pedestrian and bike friendly so they want to come downtown?
Good point.
So we
And
have to do
one-
something.
And one other comment about that, I think when this all started, the MDOT, we said, as far as the timing to keep in mind.
Yes.
In other words, starting as soon as we can in the spring, so that we don't hit boat weekend. There's minimizing the busiest times in Port Huron that we can.
That's good. Thanks, Councilmember Payton and Councilmember Horenza. Yeah, and before we can do any of that, I know we need to have a plan. We can talk till the cows come home, but they need to be reassured downtown, the businesses, that we're serious about that. They need to know how they're going to enter downtown, in order to keep their businesses running in a manner, a stable manner. So, in all this other, the option number 4, that was my favorite also. And when we were at the meeting, and I think it does answer, we did get one letter from a lady that, and I think this answers some of her issues. Did you read the letter? Or you just shaking your head?
I got so many letters, I'm not
Okay,
sure which one you're
well, just say you didn't read it, though.
No, I did. I read every letter that comes,
Okay.
good and the bad. You should see some of them.
okay.
Yeah, I did. I
Right,
read a
yeah.
college letter.
Yeah, well, she was saying something. I just want to make sure, and I know this group want to make sure that they answer all the questions, unanswered questions. And I'd like to thank Tyler particularly. I'd just like to spotlight you because I think if it wasn't for you and your tenacity and putting it there, you got to have somebody with that passion to put there. I think I had broke my ankle when I was at home, and I picked up my laptop, and I had over 400 or 500 something emails. I thought, what is going on? And I was out of commission. But I think, and that's how we're supposed to work. It happens out there. You started, and somehow it works its way here, and then James got it, and the best thing is to create this task force, but it had not been for you, our public, our people out here, that's how we make things happen. So I just always like to encourage all of you, if you got an idea or something, give it to us and see what we can do, and that's what you're supposed to be all about. It's not just James, it's the whole council, it's Moserac, it's Lamb, it's Pemberton, it's Ashford, it's who over there, Peyton. So we got to just get it together, because I was somewhere in one of these big meetings, they say, Port Huron, like we're 5 years behind and everything, so I just shut up. So I thought, okay, well, how do we get caught up? So it's just a big thing in just working together and making that connection. No more engagement. We got to connect and make it happen, do something about it. So with this, Mr. Soto, I want to just thank you for all that. It's an excellent presentation, and you certainly made your case. The judge would say, okay, done. So Tyler, thank you, and all those that came forth to do that, because Port Huron, we do have to move ahead. We can't stay where we are now. You got to move, and you got to take those risks, and we're all not going to like it, but we got to take the risk. So call for the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Horenza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Moserac?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolution 4.
Approving the agreement between the City of Port Huron and the Michigan Department of Transportation for emergency services to the Blue Water Bridge and related facilities.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Pemberton and second by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Yep, Madam Mayor and Council, this is a cleanup to the green sheet agreement we had in 2009. It increases our funding from $300,000 a year to now $400,000 a year with a CPI increase every year capped at 2.5%. It clarifies, the back end is we provide police, fire, and hazmat support services to the Bridge Plaza. This is to codify that agreement for another 5 years.
Okay, so we're just backing it up with
Yep.
back action. Okay. Any more discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, call for the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Well, that, we got ordinances, next.
Second reading and enactment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone 900 vacant lot Division Street from an R1 zoning district to a C1 zoning district.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Councilmember Pemberton moved it, and second by Councilmember Mosrak. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Ashford,
Yes.
I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Prior to right now, was Flagstar the previous occupant of that building?
That would be Dave.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, that was.
Did they use that extra lot for parking?
I happened to look up when that lot was put into place. It was in the late 80s is when the credit union came forward and had that additional parking lot expanded. So that has been in use since then. Subsequently, all of the lots that did consist of 4 separate parcels, it has now been combined into one parcel, because actually the entire site is used basically in support of that office building.
But it wasn't in the correct zone to use that as?
Right, it was orphaned. For some reason, it never was rezoned to match the other 3 parcels in the actual use of the site itself. So the applicant, in order to make the site consistent, requested that the lone outlying lot be rezoned to match the balance of the site.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any more questions before he leaves? Okay, thank you so much. Any more discussion before we call the roll? Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
No.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
No.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Ordinance number, motion carried, and now ordinance number 2.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally, of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to add Division 19, Planned Unit Development, a zoning district intended to permit the private and public development or redevelopment of areas zoned PUD throughout the city of Port Huron.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Pemberton,
Support?
second by Councilmember Mosrak. Any discussion?
Dave, why don't you give us a little context?
This is a request to add an additional district to our zoning ordinance language. This is to allow for development and redevelopment locations and sites, kind of in alignment with our zoning reform that we've been putting into place. We're allowing for more flexibility. This type of district allows for a multitude of uses and flexibility that normally you don't see in other zoning districts that have a very narrow scope of use. This is meant to be used for special sites and development locations where you want to have an opportunity for the developer to come forward and be creative. So it may not be just residential or office or retail. It could be all of the above. And this type of zoning language allows for that. We don't have any other language that matches this. We've looked at other communities. In fact, we didn't look too far. We looked at Marysville. They have a PUD zone on their books. In fact, with our attorney, Al Francis, we're kind of mirroring that language. But this allows for a process for a developer to come forward to think outside the box. The nice feature to this is what they do bring forward, it has to be consistent with their master plan, it has to be consistent with future land use, but then it also allows for public engagement, probably more so than what you would see normally in a redevelopment or a development project. It would come to the planning commission with public input. They would come forward making sure they meet the criteria. They'd come forward with a preliminary site plan that would be reviewed by the planning commission. A recommendation would be made to this board. And based on that zone and what you see in the proposal, you would then approve that preliminary plan. That would give a green light to the developer to go back and to develop all of the details of what that development is going to look like. And from that, they would actually work with us in the planning department in developing that plan, and then come back for a final plan review with the council's approval. So again, it really offers, one, to the developer, flexibility in use, in direction, but at the same time, it allows for public input and controls with the city to make sure you're ending up with a development that you want to see. And as a kind of the gist of this isn't your normal project. This is going to be on your larger sites where you can have a multitude of uses being built out, all within its footprint. So it's not going to be for everything, but what this does, it gives us a tool in our toolbox that we can use when we have that opportunity.
Mayor and council, we have several sites that are for future development, or more importantly, redevelopment. I don't want to name those sites, but I think more public scrutiny and oversight on the future use is needed in those sites in the coming years. And so this gives us a tool in the future to do that, if that makes sense.
More custom, no, it makes sense. More
Mayor Ashford?
flexibility, yeah. Mayor Pro Tem.
James, that sounds great. I have one question about this, though. As we add in another zoning ordinance, and we've had situations before where I think it's 8 criteria that it had to meet, and if it met, we legally couldn't say no. Are we putting ourselves in a situation to have that happen again now with yet another type of a zone that if, for whatever reason, let's just say the neighborhood, or we as a council or planning doesn't think it's a great fit on that location, but it meets all 8 criteria, what happens?
Unlike the special use permit, which is dictated at state statute. And this is actually, and Mr. Francis authored this language to give all of you more say. So really the power resides within the council to approve, and you're not having to meet statutory requirements. This is actually directed more at the public input and actually the elected officials helping to direct the project.
So there's nothing that they can come back and say, well, you denied us and you had no right to do so. We have full range. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. You all set, Sherry? Okay. Is everybody all clear minds? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. This actually ends our agenda, but I do have a few items that we needed to follow up on. During the last council meeting, the marijuana issue where the people came forth in regards to their neighborhood, that meeting has been scheduled by our city manager, made sure that did happen. And Dave, I'd like to commend you because I think they actually tried to fill the whole community, and you had came up with 3 people and 2 couldn't show up. So you guys canceled, and then you rescheduled. Is that right? Okay. But I'd just like to commend you for going that extra mile, you know, whether it was 1 or 2. And that's what you're supposed to do, just get the job done. You're not looking for a whole baseball field, but you got it done, and you know, the people appreciated that. Yeah, she reached out to me, so thank you for that. And then also, just quickly, we did a grand opening over at Maria's. It's under new management now. That's in downtown Port Huron. They have a new face, facade there, and it's family owned, and the owners are from Sterling Heights, still investing in our city. And also Mayor Pro Tem Archibald was there, and it was really nice. I mean, he has a huge family, so we did that in representation of all of you. And then B-Rock, they actually held their 3rd annual celebration. That's the Blue Water Recovery Team. They're still continuing, doing a good job here within our city. And then also, I'd like to give some kudos to Councilmember Lamb, who built that big float. That she didn't build it, but she helped to dress it up and make it as special as it was. And the beautiful thing about that is that Donna Neester actually paid for that before she, you know, was promoted to glory here. So there's people, you know, have our best interests at heart and seeing Port Huron wanting to, you know, grow and be more warm when people come here. And also a huge thanks to all the people that brave the cold weather out there at the parade. And special thanks to Kyle and Jason. What's his name, Jason? That built the float. Yeah, I'd like to thank them especially also. And then also, I know this is a lot, but I'm getting there. Also, another issue that we had, and this is what I said, I just want to be transparent with you guys, so just bear with me. We had a gentleman come forward, I think Mr. Holden came forward, and some, you know, allegations, I guess I keep it real, allegations made towards the city manager. And so what do I do in my capacity for that? And I actually contacted our corporation counsel as a start here. And so I want to read this. It's not a long letter, but it's getting to the point to make sure you did something. So it just says, this is from Fletcher, Philco, Shouty, and Francis. It says, Dear Mayor and council members, I recently received a request from Mayor Ashford to provide legal guidance regarding an issue raised by Gauthier Holden at the November the 25th, 2024 council meeting. The question concerned the attached letters from Mr. Freed to the director of MDOT and the response from MDOT. The issue which led to the letter arose last summer when Mr. Freed became aware Kerry Warren was both advocating for and representing MDOT on the Bridge Plaza project, and at the same time was actively involved in matters relating to then upcoming city election. Mr. Freed contacted me and asked whether I thought Ms. Warren's involvement at the time as an MDOT representative and at other times as a private citizen being involved in the council elections created improper legal entanglements. I told Mr. Freed at a minimum, I thought the appearances were bad and then there might be Hatch Act implications because of the FHWA funding, that's a federal funding, for the Bridge Plaza. Despite the potential legal issue, my recommendation was to take the high road and ask that someone else who is not involved in council politics be assigned to MDOT representation for the Bridge Plaza project. I suggested Mr. Freed write a non-confrontational type letter that made it clear the city was not attempting to prevent Ms. Warren from being involved in city politics, but rather that she should not do both. In other words, when Ms. Warren comes to a city meeting, everyone would know she is there as a private citizen as opposed to wondering if she is here on behalf of MDOT as a private citizen or both. It seems like a simple request that should be routinely granted. Also, after the election, Ms. Warren could resume her project activity. Although, coming to the end, although the request was officially denied when we had a very important meeting to try and resolve the outstanding issue between MDOT and the city. Amy Nguyen led the meeting on behalf of MDOT. Amy Nguyen had a very positive and constructive approach. We resolved the outstanding issues, and the agreement resolving all outstanding Bridge Plaza issues is on your agenda for tonight's council meeting. Towards the end of the meeting with MDOT, Ms. Warren raised an issue which I did not think needed to be addressed in the meeting, and I sensed some serious negativity, if not hostility. I tried to answer her question without getting into an argument, but she nevertheless seemed to be primed for an argument. Fortunately, Amy Nguyen got things back on track, and the meeting ended on a positive note. In my opinion, Mr. Freed's request as set forth in the attached letters was reasonable and, in fact, necessary to get matters regarding the Bridge Plaza project moving in a positive direction, and in the end, it worked. Very truly yours, Fletcher, Philco, Shouty, and Francis. That was a follow-up.
Mayor Ashford, may I comment?
Yes.
Since this directly involves me, Carrie Warren was not representing MDOT. She was not wearing any MDOT swag, so to speak of. She came to an event at McMorran Plaza, and as a citizen, a private citizen, I asked if she would man my petition for council. Just sit at the side table, don't, track anybody down, but just sit there and just, tell them that I'm running for council. Would they sign my petition? Which I think is her full right to do. I reached out to council. It seems to me, I'm not 100% sure this was not a violation of the Hatch Act. I'm following up with DC to find out if that is the case, to seek further counsel. I feel that she did nothing wrong. As a private citizen, she was not representing MDOT. It was her civic right to be able to participate in the election process, so that is what she is speaking of.
Madam Mayor and Council, just for the record, you were...
Just a minute, let me thank her.
Yep.
Thank you very much for that input, and she still is working. She just moved to another spot.
She's still working on the Bridge project, and I met with her and her boss recently, and I think they're doing a stellar job.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor and Council, just for clarity, that was not the issue in question. There was far more other documentable.
I know.
Oh, okay.
It was not just.
I was chiming in on my part.
Yeah, that was with all due respect, you were not the driving force behind this at all. It was multiple engagements that we took care of.
Okay, let me stop you
right
there. Okay, I didn't want to get, okay.
No, that's fine. I just want to put that on her.
Okay, that's all right. You put it out there. We're not trying to do all that at this meeting. But anyway, I just want to make sure that we followed up, and if there's some other things, you still have every right to, to go beyond that or whatever. So, promise, I gave you that. So now the ball's back in your court there, okay? Just want to stay with integrity up here. And I would like to say also that on behalf of your city council, of which I'm the mayor-elect, and something I take very seriously, like I told you in the first place, didn't necessarily just want to do it, just a calling and one of obedience to be here sitting in this chair. And I know some people are having a hard time with that, And all I can say is get over it, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be in this chair till when he says I'm not in this chair. So, well, thank you, I didn't want all that. But I'm just saying it is, because in my Gulliver travels, you know, there's kind of less respect, but I don't need all that to tell you. I already know who I am and whose I am. But some people had, you know, approached me over, I was at an event, and they said, well, I feel bad for you because certain people were ignoring you and stuff like that. But it's not about that. You know, there's more for you than there is against you. You know, and no weapon formed against me gonna prosper, no way. So I just want you to know, I am just grateful for being in this spot, and you are gonna be represented. You are gonna be represented, the people of this city, whether you voted for me, you didn't vote for me, you're gonna be represented. And those that don't want to acknowledge you, I don't need you, because you're not in charge of the breath I breathe. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I know it's difficult, but, you know, like I said, just get over it, you know. So on behalf of your city council, we want to wish all of you watching, if you're still there, I know we're kind of long-winded here, but if you're watching, we want to wish you a safe and joyous holiday season. And we do have small gifts for you that are left here, that are outside, and that's not your taxpayers' money. I was fighting with James. It's going to be paid for, actually, someone, an anonymous donor, because we want to do this. This is a spirit of giving and loving, you know, every day, and that's why we want to decorate our chambers to let you know we're human too. You know, we feel this, and that's what people want to feel, that we're alive up here. We're not. We just want to try to bring you closer. So, so with that, also I want to say we have a lot of committees that I have to actually, and the council have to fill. So if you are interested in serving on a committee for your city and making a difference, we wish that you'll call the clerk's office and request the application and also a description of those committees that are open. Because, you know, we need your help. It's not we need your help in order for us to help you. So please, if you can give me a Christmas present, call her. That'll be our Christmas present. So with that, does anybody else have anything else to say here?
Mayor Ashford?
Yes.
Just a reminder that on New Year's Eve, our Blue Water Area Transportation will be available. They have limited fleet. You do have to dial, it's a dial-a-ride, so you do have to call ahead of time. It's on, you know, whatever's available basis kind of thing. So when you know that you don't have a designated driver and you're downtown enjoying New Year's Eve, please be safe and call, because they'll be available till 2:30 in the morning.
Okay, thank you, Terry. You hear that? So we got a designated driver over at Blue Water Area Transit, and Terry actually is our new representative now. She took my spot, and so great thing. Okay, so I think that.
Mayor Ashford, if I could just comment, if I could,
Sure.
please. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Councilmember Renza, Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, Councilmember Pemberton, and Councilmember Lamb for entrusting in me and supporting me to take over this seat, know what my character is and what my abilities are. With that said, although I do very much respect and appreciate everything Ms. Williams does for the city and with the Southside Initiative, her public comment was not, in my opinion, only unfair, it borderline on disrespectful to suggest that I made a backdoor deal with any of these people. I did not have any conversation with these people about me being elected or anything I was doing. So there was, I can guarantee you there was no backdoor deal. I was just as nervous in that room today sitting up in 408 waiting to find out who got the seat as anybody else was. I had no inside information. So I would like to make that clear. I appreciate all of your support, and I will continue to work hard. Thank you.
God bless you. Is there anything else? Okay, so motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And somebody told me, Anita, you got to ask for a second too. Is there a second?
Second?
Second.
Okay, it's been
Happy
properly
holidays.
moved and seconded that this meeting is adjourned. And don't forget to get your ornament on the way out. And thank you.
I have signatures for you now, okay?